When you have a dream at night, you dream that you take a trip across a road trip across the States, and it takes you 3 weeks to drive. Yeah, and that seems the time that the road trip takes seems very real from the point of view of the person taking the trip in the dream. When you wake up, you realize that the dream didn't take any time in your own mind. It just happened like that.
Well, it took some time, didn't it? I mean, it took you as long as it takes to think of all the things that happened.
No, but when you wake up, you look at your clock before you go to sleep. It's 2 minutes to midnight. You fall asleep. You dream that you spent 3 weeks driving across America. You wake up, you look at your clock, and now it's 1 minute to midnight.
Okay.
The 3 weeks in the dream state doesn't take up any time in the waking state. So what I would suggest is that the 3 weeks in the waking state, so we've gone up from the dream state up to the waking state. What takes 3 weeks in the dream state doesn't take any time in the waking state. And what I would suggest is what takes 3 weeks in the waking state doesn't take any time in consciousness.
What about memories? I mean, isn't it, I don't know, it seems very true to me that things happened in the past.
Okay, let's go to the experiential answer now. Would you agree that you are experiencing what we call now?
Yes.
Okay. And would you agree that the now is not the past or the future, it's now?
Yes.
Okay, now try to step out of the now for a moment and actually experience the past. I know you can think about the past, but we know that we can think about things that are not what they seem to be. So thinking about the past is obviously not evidence of the past. To find evidence of the past, we have to go there and experience it. Experience must be the test of reality. So now.
What if we ask other people who were there?
No. Other people's evidence is not certain evidence. You've got to find your own evidence. Nobody else is going to convince you about whether time exists or not, other than yourself. So try the experiment now. Just try to leave the now for a moment and visit the past. Have you ever experienced the past?
So my memory is
No,
not
the question was,
experience.
have you ever experienced the past? Not, have you ever thought about the past? Have you ever actually left the now and experienced the past?
No.
Has anybody ever experienced the past?
No.
Or the future?
No. But how do I know about the past?
So the past and the future has never been experienced by anybody, ever, nor could it ever be experienced. So, in other words, time is never experienced, because time involves in order to define time, you have to use the idea of time. Time is the duration between two events, which is like saying time is the time between two events. It's not a satisfactory definition, but it's not possible to get a satisfactory definition of time. Why? Because it doesn't really exist. It's a model of our experience that accounts, for instance, for what we call memory. But it's just a model. It's a valid model, a necessary model, but not a model that reflects the nature of reality. if you didn't refer to memory, so let's say you were now just to experience the now, but without referring to memory, which is another way of saying without referring to thought, would you have any... We've already established you don't have any experience of time, but without reference to thought, would you even have any knowledge of time?
No.
So could it be that your knowledge of time is connected to the activity of thought, given that you only have knowledge of time when you're thinking? So are you sure that the time you think about is independent of thought, or could it be created by thought, given that it is only present or apparently present when thought is present? In other words, are you sure that we think about time because it exists, rather than considering the possibility that time exists, or rather seems to exist, only because we think about it?
Okay.
Because that is actually consistent with your experience. Your experience, first of all, says, I have no experience of the past. Nobody has ever or could ever experience the past. It's something that's just out of our experience. So there's no empirical evidence for it. And then the second observation is that our knowledge of time is correlated with thought. Normally we think the arrow of causation goes from time to thought. Time is responsible for our thought about time. Could it be the other way around? Could it be that thinking is responsible for the appearance of time? It is actually consistent with our experience. That's what our experience tells us. When you stop thinking, there's no experience of time.